So you have Pixels now, of course, but this is your first big blockbuster opportunity to come out of Game of Thrones. How did it feel to get the call from Bryan Singer?
Incredible. Yeah, my manager said, he called me, said, Bryan Singer wants to call you. Is that okay? Yes, it's fine. It's give him my cell phone number. No, and we had a great talk, and obviously the script was still being worked out, but he just described, I mean, I obviously had seen the previous films and loved every single one of them, but he just described the character and the story, and it was a no-brainer. I fit it into my schedule.
Well, what's more work? King's Landing hair and makeup or 70s hair and makeup?
Oh, wow. They come pretty close. One requires a lot more hairspray, and the other one requires a lot more scar material. So they go neck and neck. Yeah. But no, it's so much fun to be lucky enough to be a part of two things of like equal epic proportions, you know. But again, I'm just a small piece in a large puzzle, and the reason why these two projects are so great is the storytelling and the scripts. Mm-hmm. Great scripts. Complicated, but not out of one's reach.
Well, speaking of complicated, actors always say when they play a villain, they don't see the villain as evil. How do you see Bolivar Trask?
No, evil is just too broad, and no one considers themselves evil. I think it's very skewed perspective on things, and you sort of can't judge a character really when you're playing it. Obviously, this character is doing something in no way that he should be doing, because anything like this throughout history comes at a great cost of lives lost. But he sees it scientifically, clinically and scientifically, that the evolution of man is following this course, and if it continues this way, we will, like the Neanderthals by the Cro-Magnons, we will be sort of eventually, we will be petered out. And he wants to prevent that, and he sees an opportunity at this time, this in the early 70s when we were in Vietnam, as a way to bring peace to the world with a common enemy.
Mm. Well, you know...
Although it's very dark that these X-Men come in a variety of different, you know, you have Magneto, and then you have, like, little children, innocent children, and he wants to, much like a gentleman named Adolf Hitler,
yes.
You know, it doesn't matter.
No,
you just have to sort of eradicate everyone and start clean, and that's horrific.
Well, Adolf Hitler is obviously a very real-world villain, and you're part of the very real-world aspect of this story. Why do you think it's important for the X-Men movies to stay grounded? Why not just go full fantasy?
Because there's so many. There's such a parallel to our world, and I think it's much more relatable when you do that. And it makes it so much more complicated as well. I mean, there's stuff in here about JFK, and it's just, I mean, we know we're watching a fantasy film, a comic book film, but it's a lot more fun to just sort of fantasize about that, like these little notions throughout history that have involved the X-Men. It's just fun. And it's a little wink, you know, it's nice.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you was that you've been quite successful in getting people to see past how you look to who you are. And that's one of the reasons that people like the X-Men so much. That's why people really gravitate to these characters.
Right.
So what would you say to those people, to the audience? What advice would you give to someone like Mystique, say?
Advice to give to one of the X-Men characters?
Well, it's just like Mystique, who's struggling with, you know, that same struggle.
Oh, right.
Well,
you know, I mean, I think that comes with getting older and having a sense of humor about oneself, and I'm not sure Mystique has a sense of humor about herself. But yeah, I mean, I think you look at these characters, and the ones that are more comfortable in their own skin are the ones that are more stable and peace-loving. And you know, I was angry when I was younger, and that's nothing really ever good comes out of that. So I think it's just getting older helps.